Hello partners in Shidduchim, hello everyone. Welcome back to this inspirational series. I'm Shmuel Reichman, I am a lucky husband, I'm an inspirational speaker, I'm a writer, I'm a relationship coach, I'm in smicha, and I'm excited to be continuing this inspiring, deep, and yet practical series where we're delving into some of the deepest, most profound, and yet practical concepts when it comes to self-development, when it comes to building ideal relationships, when it comes to dating, when it comes to marriage. So last week, we built the starting principle, which is that in order to really expand outwards, in order to build a relationship, you must first build yourself. You must first love yourself if you're going to love someone else. You must first have something to give if you're going to contribute and build a real relationship. This week, we're going to really build off of that seed, because before we take the next stage of this series, which is actually building relationships, we need to really understand what it means to build yourself correctly before embarking on that journey of building that relationship. So what does it mean to really have that sense of strong identity, to really build yourself? Because very often people have a very weak, unempowering sense of self. They don't think they're capable. You know, there's a story I like to say. Imagine you woke up in a hospital bed and you can't remember how you got there. You realize that you have amnesia. You have no idea who you are, how you got there. And imagine two people come into the room and they say, well, Mr. President, Mrs. President, we're so happy you're okay. As soon as you're doing better, we have some very important things that we have you to take care of. You'd think, wow, I must be important. I must be important. These people, I'm the president. But imagine those same two people came over to you and said, Mr. Janitor, Mrs. Janitor, oh, thank God you're okay. As soon as you're doing better, we have some really important things for you to take care of in the second floor bathrooms downstairs. You'd say, oh, I guess I'm not much. But why would we let other people convince us of who we are? And very often we do. We let our teachers, our friends, our parents, our relationship partners convince us of who we are, and sometimes in a very negative, unempowering way. That we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not good looking enough, we're not funny enough, we're not capable enough, we're not confident enough, we can't achieve the things we want to achieve. So it's very important to recognize that we live our identity. We get to choose who we are, how we see ourselves. When you look in the mirror, you get to choose who you are, but very often we don't. We're passive. We let other people project and imprint identities onto us. And when we look at the mirror, we don't like what we see. But if you want to live a great life, you have to create a great identity. When you look in the mirror, are you the type of person that says, I am someone who's growing, I'm a spiritual person, I am a good person, a kind person, I am trying to give to others? How do you see yourself? Or do you say, I'm a bad parent, I'm a bad spouse, I'm a bad child, I'm a bad student, I'm a bad this, I'm a bad that, I can't do this, I can't do that, I shouldn't even try. How do we view ourselves? And that's the starting question, because we live our identity. We live who we think we are. An athlete views himself or herself as an athlete, and that's why they exercise a certain way, eat a certain way, sleep a certain way. A Talmid Chacham, a Talmidah Chachma, someone who's really working on their avodas Hashem, someone who's a Baal Midos, a Balat Midos, they view themselves that way, and they have to live a certain life. We all want to do things. We want to, take better care of our health, to learn more, to work on our Midos more, to be a better person, to be more thoughtful, patient, but we don't live our wants. We live our musts. And I must breathe, I must eat. So until I must work on my midos, spend more time learning and growing, spend more time contributing to other people, spend more time working on my patience, until I must do that, I won't. And that's why people have their New Year's resolutions that are the same every year, because they have things they want to do. But until it becomes a must, it won't happen. And this principle, this truth, can be clearly seen when it comes to Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu famously says, Anochi Afar Va'efer. Now the simple understanding of that is I am but dust and ashes. It's a sense of humility. But the deeper approach is Anochi Afar Ve'efer. I am but dust and ashes. Ashes is the elemental form. When you ash something, you break it down into its elemental and root form. Dirt is where you plant something new to grow and sprout. Avram was saying that I constantly break myself down. I constantly ash myself, break myself down to my root and say, who am I? What's my identity? And then I replant that anew and respread and regrow it. A constant self-awareness, a constant self-assessment, cheshbon hanefesh, saying, who am I? What am I becoming? What am I trying to accomplish? And how do I redirect, recalibrate, and make sure that I'm constantly moving forward? So we need to recognize that the most important thing we can do is to choose a strong, empowering identity. You have to love who you are. You can't love anyone else until you love who you are. And you can't love who you are until you're really becoming who you're meant to be, until you're really embracing your strongest sense of self. And this is the first step of building a really strong relationship, is once you have something to invest, a strong sense of self, you can then invest that into a relationship. And we'll get that down the line, because when it comes to vulnerability, that's one of the biggest challenges in relationships. And the only way where you're able to be really vulnerable is if you're confident and you trust who you are. So next week, we're going to discuss 3 strategies towards building that strong sense of self, towards building that strong identity. And anyone who wants to receive my weekly inspirational Parsha Shiurim, whether in video, article, or audio form, or if you'd like some relationship coaching, the first session is free. Feel free to reach out to me. You can send me a WhatsApp text. And I look forward to learning and growing with you. Have an amazing day.